ご視聴の前に一つお伝えさせてください。もしご覧になっている途中でご気分が優れなくなった場合は、どうか遠慮なくご視聴をおやめください。概要欄には相談窓口のリンクをご案内しております。今お辛いお気持ちを抱えている方がいらっしゃいましたら、ぜひ一人で悩まず周りの方や専門機関にご相談ください。
After recording episode 3 last week, I had a revelation about the meaning behind the title Takopi's original sin. Up to this point, I've analyzed Takopi as a symbol of naive innocence, a kind of toxic positivity wrapped in a well-meaning fixture mindset. But at its core though, Takopi isn't just an external observer or fixture trying to help. It is innocence itself, untainted, untouched by the complexities of human suffering. From a Judeo-Christian perspective, the term original sin refers to Adam and Eve's disobedience, the moment they tasted fruit of knowledge and fell from innocence. Does that sound familiar? And in episode 1, Takopi experiences something similar. It loses its pure innocence the moment it discovers Shizuka's lifeless body, her suicide triggered by Marina's sociopathic bullying and manipulation. That moment wasn't random though. It was a direct result of Takopi's breaking its mother's rule. He gave Shizuka the happy ribbon without supervision. That single act, meant to spread joy and companionship, led instead to tragedy, just like tasting the forbidden fruits of knowledge. And that, I believe, is Takopi's original sin, not malice, but disobedience born from innocence.
夏休みまであと少しだから、ちゃんと準備もしとけ。ちょっと話したいことがあるんだピケ。今すぐ返信を解け。
Why do you yell?
亡くなったのは小学4年生のキララ坂まりなちゃんで、頭に強く殴られたような跡があることから。
おかえり。
Junya.
また母さんのこと。う
まくやるから。
We see the immediate impact of Marina's lifeless body being discovered to everyone involved. And what did Azuma just blur out? He was like, I'll cover for you. That is him projecting based on his subconscious fear of getting caught and again, feeling of inadequacy. Covering up that body was his idea. He was like the mastermind because Shizuka and Takopi were literally clueless. So in his fragile and innocent minds, though well-intended, which is a constant theme, he was freaking out. And it comes down to him feeling worthless. He did not perform up to the standard yet again, just like how he was conditionally raised upon. And him walking lifelessly to close out is another sign of a flashback and trauma response. Remember, fight, flight, fear, and fawn right here. The whole list of 4 primary fear responses by humans, generally speaking. And him, we're seeing seeing Azuma walking, but he's frozen. And I was curious to see what Takopi was going to say before it or she was interrupted. And I'm guessing he's probably trying to confess the emotional reconciliation after that mirror reflective moment in episode 3, after Marina's mother having a breakdown because she realized it's not really Marina. Her daughter might be no more, or she was pleading for Marina to return. So much there.
昨日みんなのお友達のキララ坂マリナちゃんが亡くなりました。今からおじさんたちにお話聞かせてもらえないかな。
Look at just such a pronounced difference between Azuma's facial expression. He is in full frenzy mode. Azuma is freaking out. I would too, of course. The guilt, overwhelm, oh my gosh, the spotlight effect. Do you see the light flashing really brightly in the back of Azuma's head? I think that's a metaphorical or symbolic representation of the spotlight effect. Definition right here. Spotlight effect is developmentally what adolescents or teenagers go through. You know, they put so much effort on makeup, making sure their hair is perfect, wearing the right thing. Of course, adults do that too. But in the adolescents' underdeveloped cognitive minds, they think the spotlight of the entire world is onto them. Ergo, it's literally called the spotlight effect. It's like, oh my gosh, everyone is watching me. That is what Azuma is going through. The cops are here. The police are here. I'm gonna get caught. And of course, we see the teacher in the background face palming, probably distraught, and whatever the teacher is going through. Because I think emotionally, death of a child has way more impact emotionally for an adult who understands the implication and what that really means, the totality and the end all be all of death. Whereas for children, I think they know what it means conceptually, but the emotional impact is not the same.
大丈夫だ。思い出ボックスに入れたから。このまま黙っていればバレることはないはずだ。
We see Azuma flipping through the secret notebook, but do you see his voice? Pay attention to his voice. It's very monotone. There's no tonation. There's no tonality. It will be okay. I didn't know about the geological survey, but it was in the memory box. Azuma's truly sounds like ChatGPT. Although ChatGPT's audio feature sounds really good, it actually sounds like different people talking. Anyway, I was off tangent. So back, but we see right here, Shizuka is not really nervous. I don't know if Shizuka is dissociating from the impact, but we see a very, very different response from Azuma's trauma response of just very monotone, just in survival mode, literally just flipping through pages. But kudos to them and kudos to Azuma, he is right. Because Marina's body was in the memory box, the life or the status of the body, I'm sure it hasn't really decayed and it's been preserved pretty well. So that will confuse the forensic investigation team in the corner about the exact time of death. And then they did wipe out their fingerprints and so on. So they did do a pretty amazing job of a cover-up for fourth graders. But of course, in Azuma's head, he is freaking out. And he failed once again. Takopi speaking up, again, it's the emotional reconciliation it realized through the confrontation of the mirror reflection moment in episode 3 as it talked about. That's why I think Takopi is also going through its own guilt for the first time. Because remember, its pure innocence was shattered with the actions of disobedience born from innocence. But because its pure innocence is shattered, it finally learns that there are consequences to actions and the complexities of human suffering, but ultimately this human experience, the human condition of, when a mother loses her daughter, they grieve, no matter how awful of a mother or abusive they are. At least with Marina's mother, we know that she does care from what I've seen and analyzed in episode 3. But we can also see that there's 3 people in this scene, Azuma, Shizuka, and Takopi. But I can tell just from the animation that all 3 people or all 3 characters are having their own thoughts. I think literally none of them are on the same brain wavelength right now. I think everyone is thinking about their own things. We call that racing thoughts, overthinking, rumination.
お話ししたくて。
もうバレたんだよ。見つかったんだよ。今そんな話した。
僕は何かしなきゃいけない気がするんだっぴ。マリナちゃんとマリナちゃんの家族のためにも。
もうすぐ夏休みなのにサボったらダメじゃん。夏休みならいけるって。
I do want to talk about Shizuka's emotional manipulation definition right here. Or, I guess in the modern words with what kids would say, gaslighting. I've seen glimpses of Shizuka's manipulative tendencies and gaslighting tendencies in episode 3, as I talked about. After Marina died, something about Shizuka flipped. And I think that's her own trauma response and just overjoyed by the fact that the source of pain and abuse and bullying and sociopathic, borderline sadistic, just all that behaviors by Marina disappeared. I will be over the moon. I give her that for sure. But what we're seeing right now is Shizuka is actually emotionally manipulating Azuma. It could be a product of a trauma bonding, definition right here. A trauma bonding is the special bond of trauma that unites different people. People call each other trauma sisters, trauma brothers. A lot of sexual assaults survivors and victims, they form trauma bonds because not many people outside of that community of trauma or trauma bond understands or can even relate the despair and the tragedy and the trauma behind sexual abuse and sexual trauma. So that's why it's called trauma bonding. It is a special bond. And I think what Shizuka is doing unknowingly, because she's just a 4th grader, and I do not think she's a sociopath. I think all of these are just trauma responses and survival instincts by Shizuka herself. Through trauma bonding, I think she's emotionally manipulating Azuma. Hey, remember? You told us, you promised, you said we will be able to go to Tokyo. But that is Azuma's own trauma response of being conditioned. That love is conditional in his mind because of how his mom raised him. So that's why he's like, oh yeah, right. I promised it. We need to make it happen. I am responsible for going to Tokyo because I made that promise. Shizuka is relying on me. Because for a person like Azuma who's been conditioned or who's been instilled with the idea that love is conditional, nothing feels better than feeling like other people are being dependent on me. Because people will only depend on you if you are worthy. So that's what is going through in Azuma's mind, and that's why he's having hearts in the emoji. But Shizuka's emotional manipulation out of a trauma bond is very fascinating to see. Very unexpected, but makes sense.
そうだ。うまくやらなきゃ。
Azuma's internal monologue. Oh, maybe if we confess now, it won't be too late. Oh yeah, we have to make this work. Let's look at the bullet train schedule. Oh yeah, I was the one who said I could do it. Through Azuma's monologue, which is beautiful, designed by the animation studio and the writers, we're seeing this cognitive dissonance that finished right here. We're seeing this internal struggle of, what do I need to do? Oh yeah, I said this, I need to deliver. But what about this? A or B, A or B. We're seeing so much conflict that's happening.
言ったんだ。
Invisible
でき
struggle.
るって。遺体だって僕が隠せるって言ったんだ。次は絶対うまくやる。うまく隠し通して東京に行って、そしたら久世さんはまだ僕のこと。
おい、こんな遅くまで勉強してんの？
So before we see Junia's conversation with Azuma, everything that Azuma was saying is exactly what I'm saying. Again, he's entering survival mode. He is planning. It's his redemption arc. Azuma is trying to self-redeem because in his mind, like I said, he thinks he failed. It was his idea, but then the body was still covered. They look alike too.
あの事件大丈夫か？同じクラスの子なんだろ？なんかあったら相談乗るから。警察の人怖くないか？
Dude, the animation here is amazing. It's almost as if the spotlight effect, but this time through this color red, is showing up once again. And Azuma freaking out. I feel like this is a very, very powerful visual representation of Azuma in a literal hot seat. It's almost like he's being interrogated, even though Junya is literally just asking caring, very considerate and thoughtful questions is, hey, are you okay? Oh my gosh, I cannot believe your classmate died. Didn't you guys hang out together? How are you handling it, little brother? Are you okay? You can vent to me. I'm here for you. I got your back. Those are the intentions of Junya. But because of the spotlight effects and the fear and the guilt and overwhelm, because of what Azuma is feeling internally, externally, the questions are being perceived in a very different way. So we're seeing this contrast yet again. Junya's innocence and Junya's thoughtfulness and Azuma being in the hot seat with this red alarm.
僕ちょっとトイレ。
おお、言ってろ。
Junya knows something's off. This is the reason why cultivating our community, deepening our meaningful social relationships with one another is one of the most predictors of our future health. So I think because of that, Junya knows something's off and he is very worried. But in Junya's mind, obviously he's not going to make the connection that my little brother is capable of being an active accomplice to covering up the dead body or murder or whatever accidental death. So in Junya's mind, it's probably like, oh, my poor little brother, he's freaking out. But did you see Azuma leaving and escaping the room to the bathroom as soon as Junya approached with the phone? Again, he's so overwhelmed. So I guess instead of confessing to Junya, he retreated to the bathroom to just take a time out because there's so much. The seat was literally getting too hot. So he had to escape the hot seats, the spotlight effect.
最近のマリナちゃんおかしかったよね。急にペコペコしだしてさ、弱みでも握られてたんじゃね？
誰に？
クゼさん。東くんの言う通り、わからないことは答えなかった。
だから
でもまた話聞きに来るって。大丈夫だよね、夏休み。ちゃんと行けるよね。
もちろん。
Shizuka's emotional manipulation is back, but also can we talk about Azuma coaching Shizuka of pleading the fifth and answering minimal amount of questions? With that enchantment of Azuma, we're seeing Azuma once again, I guess, doing homework and problem solving to get his mind off of the news that they might be caught.
大丈夫。君が疑われることなんて絶対に。
See, Azuma can't focus. You guys ever noticed, like, can you guys relate? When we're talking to someone or thinking about something, we're also writing something down or typing something. And like maybe moments have gone by, and by the time we regained our consciousness and paid attention back to the task at hand, we realized we wrote down something completely irrelevant. We wrote down something that we were either thinking about or talking about versus what's pertaining to the task at hand. That's what's happening to Azuma. And it's not, we all do the same thing. We were not really paying attention. Our subconscious takes over. So that's the power of our consciousness and mindfulness. But we see that there's so much distraction happening in Azuma's poor mind. I would not wish to be like him.
僕がきっとうまくやって。
東くん。テスト終わったよ。
He didn't finish. See? You see what I mean? 54%. You know the running jokes for a Tiger Asian household is if you get a B, that's an F?
Failure! I can smell the failure!
But for Azuma, because of the conditional attachment style and his self-worth is conditioned upon his performance, a 54% is an actual F. But in his mind and his mother's minds, that is like a triple F. I made that grades up because there's no triple F, but that is actually a failure, not just about a grade, but failure of his self-worth. And he is undeserving. Azuma is not worthy of being loved by his mother yet again. So this is like double trauma right there. There's the mother doing dishes. Yep. Azuma looks absolutely distraught. Here comes the cold treatment. The walk of death before Azuma gets criticized again by his mother. Whoa, Japanese fluffy pancakes.
食べていいよ。君もさ、いろいろ大変なんでしょ？最近遅くまで外。
お母さん、もしかして全部。
No, something sus. I hope that's the case.
お母さん、僕話したいことが。
君はもういいから。
What?
いくらできないからってさ、毎日勉強もしないで、うんと悪い点。幼稚だと思うな。お母さんも頑張らないことにした。
Wow.
好きなようにやりなね。
待って、お母さん、僕は。
Sick animation though.
どうぞ。
Whoa, I just got full body goosebumps, y'all. Oh my gosh. I knew, yeah, the psychological profile of the mother's toxicity has been established. So why did I even doubt? That's why I was being sussed out. And as I suspected, the mother didn't have a change of heart. It's not because she knows what Azuma is going through with the death of Marina, having a tough time. No, it just, she was setting up the stage for her toxicity to be full blown. Go ahead, eat the fluffy pancakes. I stopped caring about you. I gave up. You gave up. It's so toxic, so emotionally abusive. Remember, abuse and violence is not just blood. It's not just beating. Abuse is any act that has serious impact and scarring effects on us. And what the mother is doing is psychologically and emotionally abusive. Full stop. Azuma is left traumatized, scarred, and his self-worth shattered into pieces yet again. Man. So many shit parents in this show, dude. Azuma is vomiting. He's having a physiological adverse effect based on that response, based on mother's emotional and psychological abuse, but also, again, his sense of failure, his worthlessness, in addition to just feeling overwhelmed. And last thing I would say is his toxic mother called him childish, attention seeking. I would love to talk to the mother and be like, hey, your son is a 4th grader. What do you mean childish? They are children. They're supposed to be childish. Childish is when someone's behavior and their age do not line up. But Azuma has every right to seek the attention of his mother. That's what children do. It's you, the mother, who's acting childish and toxic. Oh, getting frustrated at all these horrible parents. Azuma walking lifelessly yet again. Depiction of his trauma, survival mode, feeling of abandonment.
ねえ、大丈夫？
What the? Is Shizuka always in the playground?
さっきまた警察の人から電話かかってきて、夏休みまた警察署行かなきゃいけなくて。でも私、夏休みはチャッピーのとこ行かなきゃだから行けないじゃん。だから代わりを。
大丈夫。何でも言って。僕が全部解決してみせるよ。
ありがとう。じゃあさ、これ持って自習してくれないかな。
Oh man, anytime I let my guards down, the show gets intense again. There is so much packed in that dialogue and brief exchange between Shizuka and Azuma. We see Shizuka's emotional manipulation happening yet again. Just like Shizuka was a scapegoat, going back to scapegoat theory, just like Shizuka was a scapegoat for Marina and all her bullying squad out of their misery, now Shizuka is actually doing the same thing to Azuma. Shizuka is now using Azuma as a scapegoat. Hey, I can't go. Can you turn yourself in? Can you just take everything? I can't go. I don't want to get arrested. And we also see Azuma overcompensating, trying to fix and save Shizuka. And we call this like the helper tendency, or I guess more low-key savior complex. A lot of people that struggle with savior complex, if they're not struggling also from their grandiosity or just having this grandiose tendency, a lot of people with savior complex is because they cannot save themselves from their own limiting circumstances. Because so many savior complex people feel so helpless, so powerless, so aimless in their own lives. What do? They overcompensate by putting all the eggs in the basket of saving other people. Save you, save you, save you. It's an Oprah dishing out. I got you, I got you, I got you. But they don't got themselves because they cannot control their own lives. But maybe, just maybe, they can save other people. That's what we're seeing with Azuma. He feels so utterly powerless and helpless and worthless in his own life with everything I talked about. So he's doubling down on Shizuka. When Junya was young, he looked just like Azuma. Yeah, wow. And again, dude, the Junya freaking is eating fluffy pancakes and playing games. He truly is a gifted child. I'm sure he slayed every exam, putting very no effort. That's why the mom has so high hopes for him. And he could afford to study and get a part-time job. A very, very gifted kid for sure. What is this? Damn, 100%.
実際その通りだったし。
Wow.
君は
そんなことは全然全く一度もなかった。
ママがお医者さんなんで。
兄は常に100点だった。
なんでできないのかな。
1位？街で2位だって。すげえ。
Oh.
同じもの着せて 同じもの食べさせてるのにな。
Did Azuma just say Junya was number one in the country? Whoa! Yeah, it looks like I got goosebumps again. Because this seems, I don't know what you're taking away, but this is just Azuma's trauma written all over it. Because I think he is, once again, his self-worth is being pit against, can you do this for me? Can you do this for Shizuka? Are you gonna let other people down? Can you live up to Shizuka's expectations? Or will you fail her expectations just like how you failed your mother's expectation growing up? Because you can never get 100%.
視力落ちたって言ってたよね。お兄ちゃんは使わなかったからな。
Your brother never had to wear glasses? Bro, aren't you a doctor? Don't you know how ophthalmology? That's a tongue twister. I get it, she's not ophthalmologist, right? Which means eye doctor. But you know the basic anatomy, you know that our eyesights are genetics. The actual watching TV up close, reading books in the car, under the blanket, because I used to do that a lot. I used to read books with a lamp under the blanket past my bedtime, right? I don't know why I did this because it was past my bedtime. Yeah, that has very marginal, small effect on our eyesight. I'm not saying it has no effect, but it's not the main driver of our eyesight getting worse. It's actually predominantly genetics. And the study has been shown that. So this is, Azuma wearing glasses is purely genetics. And as a physician, the mother should get that. But again, in her toxic way, your brother never had to wear glasses, so why should you? It's not because she lacks financial means to buy glasses, because glasses are expensive. But again, it's that unrealistic, ideal expectations of pitting Azuma against her first son, Junya. Super toxic.
ありがとうお母さん。
それで次こそは。
Bro, so toxic. Trauma with those black eyes.
転機が訪れる。純也がくれた。
バイトは万が一成績が
チャンスだ。この跡取りとして母さんは堅実な次男に夢を託し、
He's still number one student.
それは長所だった。そもそもそんなことであいつの成績が下がることはなく、
Smart, really smart kid.
ただ真面目なだけ。
This is a beautiful demonstration of what sort of a trauma you will scar your child with if you're just living out of this achievement, conditional love mindset. Because of the toxicity of the mother's raising of Azuma started to get resentful against Junya. When Junya started to act out, even though he never did, right? Azuma is like, this is my chance to regain the favor. This is my chance to become the favored son. He is now not just competing against the brother, but actually secretly wishing upon Junya's dismay, for Junya to fall off, to hang out with delinquents. That's not something nice to wish upon your older brother, your blood and your family. And this is not Azuma's fault. This is 100% the fault of his mother. This is the type of children and family dynamic you will create if all you ever live for is achievements and grades and excellence. Of course, being excellent, being academically rigorous, so that we can pursue our aspirations, whatever their career that may be. Because being a doctor is not the only good job. There's many, many good jobs out there. And it's more about, do we love what we do? Are we willing to put in the effort to become good at what we do? And lastly, and hopefully, are we getting paid for what we're loving to do and what we're good at? That is the holy trinity of what we want to aim for. Doing what we're good at, that happens to be what we love and passionate about, by also getting paid. That's my life. I love what I do. Having a YouTube channel, doing these academic, more detailed psychological breakdown, also being a psychotherapist, working my clinical work. I love what I do. This is by design. I'm also getting paid for it. I'm very, very grateful and thankful. I truly do. But I just want to really put this on a massive billboard and shout out to the world. Please be thoughtful and think about the impacts of our actions, because every action has a consequence, just as that's what Takopi learns through that mirror reflection moment, as I talked about in the introduction.
純也だけが受け継いだ要領、地頭の良さ。あいつが染めて大
The silky black hair he ruined.
釣りの描いたみたいに幅の綺麗な二重。
Double eyelids. That's so funny. The writers also master sprinkling enough of humor, comedy, because the show's is so intense. It's the same actually tempo and setup as K-drama. And as soon as the show was getting super deep, with trauma and everything I talked about, guess what? Comedy and humor gets sprinkled in, like the double eyelids. I don't think this is as big in Korea anymore, or Eastern Asia like Korea, Japan, China, but it was huge back then, having double eyelids. People will get surgeries to get double eyelids because it's the look. But now I know single eyelids, because I have single eyelids, are gaining some love that it deserves.
この人間のクズ、よくのうのうと学校なんて来れるよな。死ね。
おいおい、僕が委員長のクラスでいじめとか。ここは僕がクリニックの名を落とさないためにも。久世さん大丈夫？僕は学級委員だからできることがあったらなんて。
Oh my gosh.
別にそんなわけなくね。でも
命を預かるお仕事で失敗は許されないの。何でも完璧にできないんだったら。
そうだ。時、純也ならきっと。
So I love this flashback because it's actually giving us more context from episode 1. Although Shizuka is completely broken, bruises all over, dust, shirts are wrinkled, and obviously beaten up by Marina, she's like, it's fine. But Azuma obviously knows she's not fine. And I guess it sounds like Azuma decided to follow Shizuka and Marina to the forest. That happens in later episode. And all his efforts to intervene and trying to stop the bullying from happening is not actually because Azuma cares about Shizuka. Not as like a humanitarian reason. It's more about, I'm the class president. No bullying is allowed in my classroom. And as his mother instilled in him, because as a physician, a mistake can cost your patient's life. So it is a very, very serious, sacred profession. Although, of course, not all doctors are great, right? There's plenty of shitty doctors out there, just like there's shitty psychotherapists, shitty engineers. Of course, right? Everyone's different. Duh. But because of that perfectionism mindset, Azuma is like, I have to do this perfectly, just like what my older brother, Junya, would have done. So it's a montage of all the efforts. Do you see the contrast of school at home, school at home? We saw that with his flashback. We saw that with his grades. All his classmates are like, oh my gosh, you're number 2 in our town. You scored above 90%. You scored the highest in our school. Like at school, there's so much praises, approval, acceptance, love. But at home, just cold pancakes in the trash can. No acceptance, no love, no praises. Such a deep show. So many cold pancakes. So back to school. It's pitch dark. Oh, I think now we're back to the present.
どうせ変わらないよ。じゃあ
僕は母によく似た女の子一人にすら期待してもらえない。
That's the another factor why Azuma is literally doing whatever it takes to appease and to make Shizuka happy. Because Shizuka looks like his mother. That's another similarities, and that's another reason why Azuma must be perfect and must save and not let Shizuka down. Wow. Wow, that's crazy.
そんなの嫌だ。
Oh, man.
東くんしかいないの。助けて。
The hearts are getting bigger. And also, as soon as I was caught up thinking about Shizuka's emotional manipulation and her own gaslighting tendencies out of trauma bonding, once again, it's a trauma response, the show reminds me of how much of a victim Shizuka was. Man. But of course, it's not one or the other. We can be both perpetrator and a victim. We are both sinners and saints. But here in Azuma's eyes, back to the present tense, the heart emojis are getting bigger and bigger and bigger. But look at behind the hearts. What do we see? Shizuka's shadow with glaring green eyes. Shizuka literally looks like a monster because of the gaslighting and emotional manipulation tendency I talked about out of her trauma bonding, right? But just focus on this scene right now, the pause scene. It's such an iconic scene. It's crazy. In this moment, Shizuka has turned into a perpetrator of manipulation, and Azuma has turned into a victim of enchantment, being mesmerized and putting all his eggs of self-worth and lovable nature into Shizuka's approval. Unbelievable setup. See?
こんなにも期待されてる。久世さんには僕しかいない。僕だけが。
More flashback, more trauma response.
だよね。お母さん、これできっと僕はあなた。
So Azuma did cover the entire memory capsule underground. Because I was like, for how methodical he was, there was no way Azuma would have left freaking half of the memory capsule above the ground to be discovered. But based on this flashback, we see that Azuma did do his best in covering up Marina's lifeless body. So it's not really, again, it's not his fault. It's the weather. But in his mind, this is my second shot. I must be perfect. Even though, guys, as I talked about this countless times, perfection is an illusion. If we are perfect, air quotes, there's no more point of striving for improvement. There's no more innovation. There's no more beauty of serendipity. There's no more beauty of progress. Perfectionism kills progress. Full stop. Amazing animation. Wow.
はずまくん。
More montage of trauma, him reconciling with what do I do? What should I do? I need to be worthy. Now back to the present.
その間にチャッピー探しておくから。
本当に久世さんは僕のこと諦めないでくれ。
He's projecting.
大丈夫。大丈夫だよ。
Definitely not daijoubu, bro. Nothing's gonna be okay.
お母さんが抱きしめてくれたのはあの日が最後だったと。
Dude. Oh, poor Yuma. A child just wants to be loved unconditionally.
こんな早くにどこ行くんだよ。
Junior. I really hope that Azuma comes clean, Junior accepts him, hopefully hugs him, and hopefully it's like a happy ending because this is it's been a pretty intense episode so far. But the last thing I'll say is Shizuka's kiss on Azuma's cheek. That is like the epitome and the display of Shizuka's emotional manipulation and gaslighting, manifesting through this very intimate physical gesture of kissing on his cheek. That's like the final spell of enchantment, right? It's like, bam! Azuma is now under the spell of Shizuka. Again, Shizuka doesn't know she's doing this. She doesn't know that she's being manipulative. Shizuka is also just trying to survive. She doesn't want to go to jail. She just escaped the tyranny and the sadistic abuse of Marina. She just became free. So of course, she wants to go to Tokyo. Of course, she wants to reunite with Chappie. So Shizuka is not fully innocent, but she also doesn't know that she's being a perpetrator. She's just trying to survive. That's the complexities. And this is the reason why this is such a deep anime. And that's why I'm spending already over an hour, again, every episode, trying to deconstruct and break down the concepts. Because if you don't have a full, not just a full, if you don't have an enough grasp about the human conditions and human psychology, you can take very different meanings out of this show. But anyway, so I'm very eager to see what Junya does, and we'll see what Azuma tells Junya, because it is so sus for your 4th grader little brother to leave your house at whenever this is midnight or definitely after the curfew. Whoa, that's intense. Oh.
どう責任取ってくれる。
because Azuma is feeling guilty, all that distortion, Junya talking like a monster, getting bigger, the reflections in Azuma's eyes of this purple monster figure, all that is Junya's guilt manifesting and twisting the reality. Because remember, guys, what we feel internally, what we feel in the inside, always influence how we perceive the outside. In other words, our internal reality distorts and influences external reality. Oh,
大丈夫か？
what a
やっぱなんか
cool big
思い詰め
bro.
てるだろ。だからちゃんと相談しろって。何でも聞くから。
You can tell me anything. What a nice thing to say.
にはわからないよ。有能人格者で何でもできて、みんなお前のことばっかりだ。
Again, look at the frame. On the left is Junya, supported by everyone who approves him, loves him, accepts him. But on the right of my screen, Azuma is all alone, single, no support, no acceptance, no loving community who's got his back. And again, this is not the reality, but this is the reality and how Azuma feels. But of course, we know that Azuma also has plenty of people who care about him. Not to mention, Junya is 100% behind Azuma. But of course, in Azuma's mind, because of all that trauma caused by his mother, it's always a competition. He's always competing against his older brother.
何もできなくて、求められたことは何一つできなくて、誰も僕に興味なんかだ。
Oh, yeah, let it out. Let it out. Whoa, whoa. What is going on? Oh my gosh.
俺がいるだろ。さっきから
Goosebumps.
どうでもいいんだそんなことは。わかんないことだろうが、お前は俺の弟なんだから。
Oh, fireworks. Oh my gosh, that was such a heartwarming episode. This beautiful transference of Junya's unconditional love unto Azuma with the fireworks of lights in Azuma's eyes. And can we talk about how amazing the animation is and this very powerful storytelling and depiction of very, very important emotional themes being displayed through Azuma's reflection in his eyes. We've seen that with Shizuka's reflection. We've seen that with the heart emojis. We've seen that on and on and on again. It's amazing. It's just like how Takopi had a reflection moment through the mirror in Marina's household after Marina's mother breaking down. We're also seeing using Azuma's reflection in his eyes. It's like a mirror reflection moment for all of us, for all of us, for all of the viewers to also reflect upon. This is what unconditional love looks like. This is the reason why performance and how well we do in life, at work or in school, should not dictate our self-worth. It's all about the people that accepts us for who we are. And this is the reason why being seen, being accepted, and being heard are the three crucial ingredients to make sure a human can thrive and feel good in this world. And that's what Junya is displaying. But what a beautiful, beautiful scene. Wow. You see what I mean? The writers have mastered this dopamine wave, right? After intensity, the suspense, it draws you in and ends it with this wholesome, beautiful, heartwarming scene. Wow.
かな。
That was sick animation.
何でもできるやつなんていないんだよ。
That's true.
俺、モンハン下手だし。ここだけの話。
Monster Hunter!
いつも彼女に手伝ってもらってるし。
Oh my gosh. Great game.
昔はめっちゃまずかった。
Oh.
本当に。だから努力の人なんだって。
Ah.
よく似てるよ。お前と。
Wow. Quick pause. That is so deep what Junya said. What Junya just did for Azuma is he, in a first-hand POV, man-to-man, human-to-human, brother-to-brother conversation, Junya just shattered the illusion of perfectionism. Because remember, in Azuma's limited fourth grader mind, his mother is perfect because she's a doctor. His brother is perfect because he's number one in the country. He's a prodigy. He gets 100% in everything. Therefore, I must be perfect. But he's not perfect because he's getting 95% in exams. Oh my gosh, 95%. How dare he, right? Does that make sense? If you think everyone in your life is perfect, not just everyone in your family, your most intimate nuclear family circle is perfect, of course you feel the pressure to be perfect, in addition to the mother's emotional and verbal abuses. But Junya, who Azuma mistakenly thought he was perfect, just said that, hey, I suck at Monster Hunter. Shout out to Monster Hunter, amazing game. And shout out to Junya also shattering the elusive perfectionism that his mom is always trying to display. The pancake sucks. She's so busy, but she still tries to make these pancakes the night before her shift and put it in the fridge. So it's undercooked and it's hard. But Junya doesn't know that. Or not Junya, Azuma doesn't know that because he never got to eat the pancakes. The pancakes always went to the trash. Because you think Azuma's gonna eat those pancakes after those verbal and emotional abuse? No, he has no appetite. So he actually never tasted those pancakes. Those fluffy looking pancakes, seemingly perfect, but it's undercooked and hardened. Beautiful thing that Junya just did. Amazing. And I'm sure this will plant the seed that again, perfectionism is not real. Perfect is a lie, but progress can be measured, and progress and effort are the only two things that count.
母さんが買ってくれてもうとか
Oh.
それで僕言わなきゃいけないことがあるんだ
Big bro. He has the murder weapon. Oh my gosh. Oh. We see that the light's already coming through the front door. So again, remember, Junya stopped Azuma from leaving the house at night. So hours, many hours have already gone by. So I'm sure sounds like they had a heart-to-heart, and Azuma finally expressed everything he's been depressing. And I've shared this before, but I'll share it again. It's my favorite mental health adage. What we do not express gets depressed. We have to let it out. But it's important that whoever we're venting to, like I talked about in episode 1, must be grounded and have a very good emotional understanding about you, your circumstances, and the skill of active listening. Not listening for the sake of, but listening to understand, to care, to empathize. That's what Junya is also displaying beautifully, this therapeutic skill and practice of active listening. And we see that Junya is also tearing up. Of course, this is a beautiful display of this heartfelt, wholesome, emotional resonance and emotional reconciliation with big brother and little brother. Not competition, not I need to best and outperform my big bro, but rather, big bro, I have so many more things to tell you. There's love. This is a beautiful display of familial love and brotherly love, something that the mother failed to display and show. Such a beautiful scene. And the light represents transformation, renewal, and hope.
なんだって本当あんないい子が誰かにやらされてたんじゃないのなんでも噂だと確か同級生の
しずかちゃん
What are the
東
rumors?
くんはもう助けてくれないんだね。
これからどうするっぴか
We're seeing the clock again.
僕たちももう本当のことを
何言ってんの？
今日から夏休みだよ
Tokyo. Wow. To finish off, I guess we're seeing Shizuka's underdeveloped because children, fourth graders, their cognitive process or their brains are not fully developed. She's not fully grasping the magnitude of the rumors that were happening in the background. Sounds like Azuma turns himself in and admitted to being an accomplice, but sounds like the rumors are out that Shizuka is the one that's ultimately responsible. And we see that Shizuka talking to herself, saying that, I guess Azuma won't help me anymore. Immediately afterwards, she becomes carefree. She's like, but who cares? It's summer break, day 1. Time to go to Tokyo and reunite with my one and only Chappie. That is a normal child response. This is what we call childlike. So Shizuka as a child is not fully grasping what is going on, and that's very normal. Anyway, wow, I recorded for an hour and 20 minutes again. This is a really, really great show. I do hope that this wins the Anime of the Year award, as many people are suspecting and speculating. But of course, the first couple episodes are really hard to get through. But I do think it has a lot of importance and significance emotionally and psychologically, which is a reason why you guys asked me to react to it.
今日のセカスト翻訳ポイント。このコーナーでは動画内のセカストの翻訳を一部取り上げ、なぜそのように翻訳したのか、その意図を解説するコーナーとなっています。どうもです。相変わらず翻訳に悪戦苦闘しています。もはやそんな苦労を皆さんに分かち合ってもらうコーナーになっていると言っても過言ではありません。さて、今回も色々と苦労したところはありますし、その数々を挙げればそれだけで正直2時間ぐらいの動画になってしまいます。なので今回も一つだけ翻訳ポイントを紹介します。今回の翻訳ポイントという名の苦労話は横文字です。今回の動画でも結構な横文字が出てきましたね。ガスライティング、スポットライト、そしてパンケーキ。このパンケーキが個人的にはクセモノでした。翻訳を紹介する前に横文字がなぜ字幕翻訳において厄介なのかを説明しないといけませんね。ちらっとこのコーナーでも説明したかもしれませんが、字幕翻訳は1秒に表示できる文字数を制限する決まりがあります。なぜそんなことをするのかというと、あまり字幕の文字数が多くなってしまうと、視聴者が映像を目で追う余裕がなくなってしまうからです。特に役者の動きや表情などに注意しないといけない映画やドラマの場合、あまりセリフの文字ばかりを追っていると映像的な伏線を逃したりなんてことにもなりかねません。だからこういった文字数制限があるんですね。先ほど1秒4文字と言いましたが、最近の某配信サイトの字幕だと文字数を多めに設定してたり、産業翻訳の動画だとさらに文字数は増えるらしいです。なので今紹介した文字数の話はあくまで目安だと考えてください。で、このチャンネルも一応文字数にはある程度気をつけています。このチャンネルの動画制作では英語の原文も同時に表示するという動画制作上の都合から、映像翻訳者が使う字幕制作ソフトを使っているわけではないので、文字数をきっかりと数えているわけではありません。ですが、文字数をあまり多めにしたり、逆に少なすぎて間延びしたりすることもないようにはしています。そして、ただでさえ上や右に英単語の解説があったりするため、やはり日本語字幕の文字数も抑えた方が見やすいだろうという考えで、翻訳を考えるようにはしています。さて、話を横文字に戻しましょう。横文字というか、カタカナで表示される海外由来の単語は自然と文字数が多くなってしまいますよね。一応固有名詞の場合はある程度文字数をオーバーしても構わないという暗黙のルールがあるのですが、パンケーキは残念ながら固有名詞ではありません。しかも困ったことにパンケーキはパンケーキとしか表現できません。スマートフォンを携帯電話やスマホと簡略化するのと同じようなことができないのです。アニメでもパンケーキと言っているのでなおさらです。では文字数などの話も踏まえてこのシーンを見てください。
So many cold pancakes.
英語では4単語で構成されたこの文章は、長さを測ってみると約 1.2 秒でした。はい、もうお手上げです。まあけど、これは内容的にもパンケーキを出すしかないので、パンケーキはもう割り切って出しましょう。文字数はもうオーバーしちゃいましたが、幸いなことに
音声でもパンケーキとはっきり聞こえるので、視聴者もここはスッと読んでくれるだろうと踏みました。そしてその他のたくさんの冷たいという情報を理科に削るかにかけました。まずこの文章の背景を見ると、東くんの母親が作ったパンケーキの山がゴミ箱に捨てられて冷たくなっていくという状況に対しての発言ですね。アニメを見た人ならその状況が分かっていると思うので、それを連想させるような言葉を出したいです。それを踏まえて私が最終的に出した翻訳は、次々とパンケーキがとなりました。ちょうど東くんの学校のシーンと家でパンケーキが捨てられてるシーンが交互に続いていて、アニメの内容をすでに分かっている視聴者ならこれで次々とパンケーキが捨てられている状況をイメージしてくれるだろうと踏みましたが、どうでしょうか。意味不明だったらすいません。精進しますとしか言いようがありません。なんかここまで来ると某番組の俳句コーナーみたいになってますね。けど実際翻訳は俳句と似た部分は多いと個人的には思っています。今回はこの翻訳を紹介しましたが、これはほんの一部で、今回は今までのシリーズの中でも相当翻訳に苦戦しました。次もおそらく動画投稿までにかなりの時間がかかると思いますが、何卒気長に待っていただくと幸いです。以上、翻訳コーナーでした。
それでは今日出てきた英単語を振り返ってみましょう。
Disobedience。
この単語は命令や規則、権威に従わないことを意味します。法律や宗教、軍隊などフォーマルな場面から子供が親の言うことを聞かない日常的な文脈まで幅広く使われます。シビルディスオビディエンスのように社会的政治的文脈でも有名で、こちらがその英単語を使った例文です。
The soldier was punished for disobedience。
その兵士は不服従のために処罰された。
Her disobedience to her parents caused constant arguments at home。
彼女が親に反抗するせいで家庭では絶えず口論が起きた。タイトルにもある現在はキリスト教でいうところの反抗を意味しているのではないかという話がありましたね。皆さんは親に反抗なんかせずにいい子ちゃんでいましょうね。
Adolescent。
この単語は思春期の若者、その時期に関することを指します。名詞として青年形容詞として思春期のという両方の用法があります。身体的精神的に大きな変化を迎える時期に関連する言葉です。こちらがその英単語を使った例文です。
Adolescents often struggle with identity and independence。
思春期の若者はしばしば自己認識や自立に苦労する。
He wrote a book about adolescent psychology。
彼は思春期の心理学に関する本を書いた。思春期の子供ほど人の目線に対して敏感であるというような話がありましたね。ちなみに日本語で思春期は8歳から18歳頃なのに対して、英語のアドレセントは10歳から19歳の10代を指します。細かい指摘でしたね。
Subconscious。
この単語は自覚していない心の働き、イコール潜在意識を意味します。普段は意識していないけれど、行動や考えに影響を与える心の領域を指します。形容詞として無意識のという意味でも使われます。こちらがその英単語を使った例文です。
Dreams often reflect our subconscious thoughts。
夢はしばしば私たちの潜在意識の考えを反映する。
He had a subconscious fear of failure。
彼は無意識に失敗を恐れていた。心理学の話になると、意識、無意識という話が自然と出てきますね。日常会話でもサブコンシャスリーと副詞形で使うことは結構多いです。意識という意味のコンシャスという単語も合わせて覚えたいですね。
redemption.
この単語は、罪を償うこと、失ったものを取り戻すこと、救いを意味します。宗教的な魂の救済から、日常的な失敗を挽回するまで幅広く使われます。物語や映画のテーマにもよく登場します。こちらがその英単語を使った例文です。
The movie is about a criminal's journey toward redemption.
その映画は犯罪者が贖罪を目指す旅を書いている。
He sought redemption by apologizing to those he hurt.
彼は傷つけた人々に謝罪することで償いを求めた。東くんは自分の失敗を取り戻そうと奔走していましたね。ちなみに日本語で言うところのリベンジを意味する単語はこのリデンプションであることが多いです。英語のリベンジはあくまで復讐という意味なので誤解されないようにしましょう。
Hot seat.
この単語は直訳で熱い椅子ですが、比喩的に非難や責任を集中して受ける立場、答えにくい質問をされる状況を意味します。インタビューや裁判、会議などでプレッシャーを感じるときによく使われます。こちらがその英単語を使った例文です。
The politician was in the hot seat during the debate.
その政治家は討論会で厳しい立場に立たされていた。
He found himself in the hot seat when his plan failed.
彼は自分の計画が失敗して苦しい立場に追い込まれた。東くんはロニーちゃんと会話している時に、罪の意識からか自分が責められていると錯覚していましたね。体に黒いテープ的なものを巻いて、会場の踊り場的なところで歌うのはホットリミットなので、間違えないようにしましょう。
Childish.
この単語は大人にふさわしくない幼稚な態度や行動を意味します。多くの場合ネガティブに幼稚、未熟と批判する言葉ですが、文脈によっては無邪気という柔らかいニュアンスになることもあります。こちらがその英単語を使った例文です。
Stop being so childish and act like an adult.
そんなに子供っぽいことはやめて、大人らしく振る舞え。
He has a childish sense of humor that still makes me laugh.
彼は子供っぽいユーモアを持っていて、それでも私は笑ってしまう。東くんの母親が言った幼稚という言葉の翻訳として、この英単語が使われていました。見た目は子供、頭脳は大人な某小学生探偵も見た目的な年齢と行動が見合ってないので、見ようによっては幼稚なのかもしれません。
Ideal?
この単語は、完璧で望ましい状態や人、物を指します。実際には存在しない完璧な基準を意味することもあれば、この状況では最もいいという相対的な意味で使うこともあります。恋人や仕事環境など、理想の何々という形でよく登場します。こちらがその英単語を使った例文です。
She is the ideal candidate for the job.
彼女はその仕事に理想的な候補者だ。
Living by the beach would be ideal for me.
海辺に住むのが私にとって理想的だろう。東くんの母親は自分の理想を子供に押し付ける、いわゆる毒親として解説されていましたね。理想を追い求める人がその理想を実現できるのでしょうが、他人にその理想を押し付けるのは何とも迷惑な話です。
Delinquent.
この単語は非行に走った若者を指す場合と義務を怠った人を指す場合があります。前者は犯罪や素行不良に関する文脈、後者は経済的法律的な文脈で使われます。こちらがその英単語を使った例文です。
The program helps delinquent teens get back on the right track.
そのプログラムは非行少年が更生するのを助ける。
He was charged for being delinquent on his taxes.
彼は税金の滞納で告発された。純也が髪を染めた時、不良と付き合いができるのではないかと思われていましたが、全くそんなことはありませんでしたね。日本語のヤンキーも、この英単語で略されることが多いと思います。
Rigorous.
この単語は非常に厳しい、細部まで徹底して正確なという意味です。学問的研究やトレーニング、規則や審査など、許さを許さない場面で使われます。こちらがその英単語を使った例文です。
She went through rigorous training to become a pilot.
彼女はパイロットになるために厳しい訓練を受けた。
The study was conducted under rigorous scientific standards.
その研究は厳格な科学基準の下で行われた。東くんの母親はテストの成績や学業に対しては厳しい、いわゆるタイガーペアレントという存在だという説明がありましたね。最近は人に対して厳しいことも非難されがちなので、それはそれで難しいですよね。
Come clean.
この表現は隠していたことを正直に打ち明ける、白状するという意味です。罪悪感や秘密を抱えていた人がついに真実を語る場面でよく使われます。こちらがその英単語を使った例文です。
He finally came clean about breaking the vase.
彼はついに花瓶を壊したことを白状した。
It's better to come clean now than to be caught later.
後でバレるよりも今正直に話した方がいい。東くんは最終的には純也に今までのことを正直に話してくれましたね。告白を意味するコンフェスが愛や罪の告白に使えるのに対し、こちらはやましいこと限定で使える感じですね。
Empathize.
この単語は他人の感情や経験を理解し、共感することを意味します。シンパサイズとは異なり、相手の立場に立って感情を共有するニュアンスがあります。こちらがその英単語を使った例文です。
I can empathize with your frustration. I've been there too.
あなたの苛立ちには共感できるよ。私も経験があるから。
She empathized with the character in the novel.
彼女はその小説の登場人物に共感した。人の気持ちを聞くことは重要ですが、その場合は相手の感情をちゃんと理解していることが大事だという話がありましたね。やっぱり人間には共感が必要だってことなんだと思います。多分。
Prodigy.
この単語は年齢に比べて並外れた才能を持つ人を意味します。芸術や音楽、学問などの分野で突出した才能を発揮する人に使われることが多いです。こちらがその英単語を使った例文です。
Mozart was a musical prodigy who composed music as a child.
モーツァルトは子供の頃から作曲をしていた音楽の神童だった。
The young math prodigy solved problems that stumped professors.
その若い数学の天才は教授たちを困らせる問題を解いた。純也は何事に対しても優秀でまさに神童かと思いきや、まさかのモンスターハンターが下手だという話がありましたね。けど、こういう子って下手とか言いながら結局上手かったりするので、私はあんまり信用してません。